Details pouring in, and our investigations editor Manoj Gupta getting us this exclusive where amid the political turmoil in Pakistan, Imran Khan, the former Prime Minister, has made some damning charges in a leaked video. He says that Pakistani Army and the ISI aim to kill him. He is the nation's most popular leader, is what Imran Khan has now come out and said. He's also alleged that Tehreek-e-Taliban's shooters, hired by Asif Ali Zardari, plotted to murder him, adding that Pakistan's security officers were all involved in this assassination bid. Listen in.
ISI यानी फौज की लीडरशिप किस एक्सटेंट पे चली गई है कि वो एक मुल्क का सबसे बड़ा जो पॉलिटिकल लीडर है, सबसे बड़ी पार्टी जो मुल्क को इकट्ठा रख सकता है, उसको मारने के लिए जा रहे हैं.
That was Imran Khan, the former Pakistani Prime Minister, who was injured in a shooting during one of his rallies just a few months ago, has now come out and claimed that it was the army, the ISI, who hired shooters of the Tehreek-e-Taliban to assassinate him. He has survived that attempt. This also comes just a few months before elections are in the offing in Pakistan. Abhishek, my colleague, now joins us for more details on that. Now, Abhishek, some very damning charges, some names that have been spilled by the former Prime Minister as well, claims that the TTP has denied.
Of course, and this whole controversy of Imran Khan taking names or taking the name of TTP, it will have major repercussions because TTP has been recently engaged in so many terrorist attacks against police establishments, military establishments, and also against civilians. And they have stepped up their, their anti-Pakistan government tirade. In the recent weeks, many bomb blasts and many lives have been lost because of the TTP attacks. So, in that context, it becomes really important that Imran Khan has now blamed that General Bajwa and TTP, they were hands in gloves until a few months ago, and they were so much close that there were killers who were hired and they were sent to kill Imran Khan, who happens to be one of the one of the largest, tallest leaders of Pakistan's politics at this point of time. He is the major opposition party, and until a few months ago, he was the Prime Minister. In fact, Pakistan, the former Prime Minister Khan has also regretted the fact that he given the extension to General Bajwa, which kind of did not go down well for his own political prospects.
Right, now elections are just around the corner as far as Pakistan is concerned, and Abhishek, the Imran Khan camp seems to be regretting the extension that they gave to the former Pakistani army chief.
In fact, at a time when the former General Bajwa was given extension, it looked that Imran Khan and army was very much, they are having a very cordial relationship. But soon everything got soured, and we saw how the fallout after Imran Khan was dethroned from the governance from the Prime Minister's office became very much wide when Imran Khan attacked army, its establishment. Its party, Imran Khan's party leaders also started their attacking and their barbs against army officials. So much so that many senior leaders of Imran Khan's party, they were arrested on charges of treason and maligning the army. In fact, there was this press conference by the army senior officials to say that they did not have any role in what a political discourse that Pakistan is having at that time. Ever since Pakistan's former Prime Minister Imran Khan had been attacked during his rally, the mega rally that he conducted across the country, he has been saying that there have been people, there have been elements, and it was a well-planned, organized attack to kill him, to eliminate him. And now when it has come clearly that he had put the blame directly on former army chief General Bajwa and major terrorist organization TTP. Now we'll have to see how the Pakistan's current polity will deal with this latest revelations.
Right, do stay on with me. Pathikrit Pain, security analyst, also joining us on this broadcast. Now, some very grave allegations have been made by Imran Khan. This is also not the first time that he's made such allegations since the attack on him a few months ago. Can the claims that he make be given credence, or are they just political in nature as his opponents in Pakistan claim?
Well, first of all, let's understand that Imran Khan himself, his own elevation in the politics and becoming the Prime Minister wouldn't have been possible without the blessings of the Pakistan Army and the deep state of Pakistan. So suddenly, because there has been a change of guard, and because it's a legacy of Pakistan that nobody actually is allowed to complete 5 years. Suddenly, right now, his allegations against the Pakistan Army and ISI. It's not something surprising. It would have happened because if you look at the situation in Pakistan right now, presently, there is a huge amount of anguish that common people have against the Pakistan Army and ISI, presumably because they believe that whatever is happening right now, the predicaments of Pakistan are because of the Pakistan Army. So he is trying to capitalize on that. And I think let me assure you, if tomorrow he wins the election, he would again bring Pakistan Army into his good book. That's how they keep on changing the colors. But Tehreek-e-Taliban has always been very close to Imran Khan. In fact, Imran Khan himself was called Taliban Khan. So right now, these allegations are primarily because he wants to capitalize on the general anger that people have because of the inflationary and economic issues. What kind of actual relevance and credibility those allegations have, we have to see. But assassination attempts on politicians by the deep state of Pakistan is again also not something new. But whenever they come to power, they change their impression about the army and they simmer in good humor again.
Sure, but given that the army really calls the shots in Pakistan, Pathakrit, I want to ask you, by making allegations like this and with the ambition of returning to power in the elections that are going to be held soon, isn't it counterproductive for Imran Khan to be making such allegations against the army?
Well, possibility is still definitely there. There's no denial of that. But right now, if you look at the condition of Pakistan and the kind of allegations that he has made directly against the Pakistan Army and ISI, even if there is an iota of truth in that, I don't think the deep state of Pakistan would dare to do anything to Imran Khan right now because of the huge popularity that he has. And he is simply capitalizing on it. And if he comes back to power, he would definitely again seek blessings from the Pakistan Army to actually remain in power. Also, let us understand the Pakistan Army itself is deeply divided within. One part is extremely radicalized and the other part is pretty progressive per se comparatively, and they don't want the jihadi elements to actually have the reign. So it has to be seen which party is putting allegations on.
Yes.
That deep division within the Pakistan Army is known pretty well. So these allegations, even the elections would still be there and he would again be in good. This is a circular game and loop that happens in Pakistan.
Sure, it seems like a vicious circle as far as the army and the politicians in Pakistan go. Pathakrit, thank you so much for joining us with your perspective. But let's once again listen in to the allegations that have come to the fore from the former Prime Minister of Pakistan.
इशू ये है इस मुल्क की ISI यानी फौज की लीडरशिप किस एक्सटेंट पे चली गई है कि वो एक मुल्क का सबसे बड़ा जो पॉलिटिकल लीडर है, सबसे बड़ी पार्टी जो मुल्क को इकट्ठा रख सकता है, उसको मारने के लिए जा रही है.
Let's shift focus now to the United Kingdom, where a review report has surfaced issuing warnings against the anti-India rhetoric over Kashmir and on Khalistani extremism. This review report has made recommendations for improvements in tackling and preventing the Islamic extremism as a primary threat to the country. It also flags several other concerns, including radicalization of Muslims in the United Kingdom. Kashmir and potentially toxic pro-Khalistani extremism is a clear and present danger, and that must be tackled with, is what this report recommends. UK's Home Secretary has also now reacted to that report, going on to say that this threat is huge in terms of nature and scale and will be addressed robustly.
I am committed to delivering wholesale change to prevent, to ensure we are taking every possible step to protect our country from the threat posed by terrorism. More will be done to disrupt radicalisers and extremists, and we will deliver better training and guidance to improve understanding of the ideological nature of terrorism. Britain is a tolerant, welcoming and open society. For everyone to feel at home here, extremism must be rooted out.
Sanjay Suri, my colleague, now joins us live from London to get us more details on this report that has been given legitimacy. A nod of approval has come to the fore from the Sunak government as well. And there are some very key points that this report goes on to make, Sanjay, isn't it? It speaks of multiple issues, but the two things which are extremely significant from the Indian perspective is that of pro-Khalistani elements trying to wreak havoc in London, as we have seen, or in England, as we have seen in the last couple of months. And of course, the anti-India, anti-Kashmir rhetoric that is being whipped up, especially by Pakistan and by ISI.
Yes, and it points to an extremist ideology as the root for these issues. And it says that in its recommendation, this prime recommendation is that the government has to do more to counter what it calls chronic radicalizers. And it clearly is not mincing words about who these people are. It is clearly an Islamist issue, as this report identifies. It mentions that the counter-terror police, when it is investigating and neutralizing cases of terrorism or terrorism plots that are in the making, 80% of those are related to Islamism. 10% are identified as coming from the far right, and about 10% are free, indeterminate, but clearly there is no suggestion and no evidence presented of any threat of terrorism coming from any other religious group. It only names Islamism as the problem here. This also comes together with another observation that this report makes, that there have been some commentaries that have been picked up on as instances or allegations made against them that these have been extremist. But any right-wing or mildly right-wing commentary is nothing to do with terrorism. This distinction has been made very clear, and this is very significant because it comes in the context of some counter-allegations from Islamist sympathizers that the terrorism comes from somewhere else. This report says it does not. This is now a very, very significant moment in the debate on this, not just in public debate, not just in parliamentary debate, but also by way of government executive action. And the government is committed now to taking such action.
Right, and that confirmation came to the fore from the UK Home Secretary as well. And there are some certain points that have been made in this particular report, like you've also been speaking of. Certain sections within the society, sympathizers, Islamist sympathizers have been saying that this is nothing but Islamophobia. But this report also goes on to say that as far as these investigations are concerned, 80% of them go on to show that they were in fact Islamist extremists.
Yes, I mean, it's very, very clear on that. And it has said so clearly, and that itself is hugely important because this report speaks of a culture of timidity in talking about these things, that the minute you begin to talk about these things, you are called prejudiced, you are called Islamophobic. It speaks of the need to get past this. It speaks also of the need to get past disinformation. And the report speaks of disinformation about the PREVENT program itself. And the very fact that the government has launched this PREVENT program has been targeted by certain groups, that this is itself a sign of Islamophobia. And this report warns against that. And it, in fact, recommends very firm action from the government. It has made 34 recommendations. Many of these are very precise and procedural, but necessary, of course, to carry the task forward. But in making these recommendations, it is not losing sight of the fundamental issue, which is that of tackling chronic radicalizers and also targeting those who are vulnerable or susceptible and trying to stop them going the way of terror.
Sure. Sanjay, do stay on with me. Lawyer Deshratan Nigam also joining me on this broadcast. And thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. The world seems to be waking up to the clear and present danger. But unfortunately, we have a section within the country as well who often says that this is nothing but Islamophobia. And the government is then called a majoritarian government. Do you think now that another country has also woken up or at least acknowledged this particular threat, this particular section in this country will perhaps try and end that denial?
Well, in fact, unless and until one identifies a problem, nobody can find a solution to it. Now, this report is in tune with the United Nations data and facts, where 95% of the declared terrorists and the declared organization as terrorist organizations are from Islam. And this is the recognition of the very same fact And now in India, people had this tendency of brushing things under the carpet, whereas you had Sydney earlier, PFI today, who wants to make this country an Islamic nation till 2047, and then doing extremist and terrorist activities. The entire Pakistan today, the establishment, the government, are so much anti-India only because of the religion. And the difficulty today is that they keep religion above the nation and consider the concept of our ummah that whatever they do, the ummah will come together. Now this report is quite damaging also, and it has pinpointed the Islamic terrorism is the major threat to the world today. Even Saudi Arabia recognizes it. They recognizes this fact, and they have, called Tablighi Jamaat, which has its headquarters in India, and they have banned it, calling it extremist organization. So things are very serious. Iran has also banned such organizations. We in India have to awaken to it, and we must involve good Muslims, the educated ones, who believe that nation is supreme and religion comes second. Religion is a very personal affair, and it has to be kept within the four corners of the house. And unless and until that awakening takes place, the threat would continue to remain, and everybody has to be on the same page that the nation is supreme, nation comes first, rest is immaterial. And therefore religion is a very personal thing, and terrorism based on religion is something, especially the Islamic terrorism that we are seeing today in the entire world. Something is going wrong somewhere in the education system of those countries, or the correct interpretation of their holy scriptures, whether it is Quran or Hadith. I think one has to take the cue from the Saudi Arabia, the way they are reforming today. And they have even introduced Ramayana and Mahabharata in their education curriculum. They have rejected 80% of the Hadith and constituted a committee on Quran as to know, because Quran is not written in sequential order in terms of time. So they are getting into it and trying to understand everything as to why such kind of extremism, terrorism, radicalization is taking place on account of, all kinds of interpretations floating around the world so far as these holy scriptures are concerned. And we have huge amount of good Muslim people in India who believe that the nation comes first and they are contributing to nation's development. They also have to come forward. The majority of the Muslims remain silent. These people get very strengthened and emboldened, and then they try to do extremist and radicalized activities.
Yes.
This is happening all over the world. The silence of the majority of the Muslims is actually one of the root causes. If they come out open against them, I think we can tackle this Islamic terrorism and its threat.
Right. Right, whether that happens or not, we'll keep an eye out on. But Deshnath Nigam, thank you so much for joining us with your perspective here. We are speaking of Islamist terror, and we have here access part 2 excerpts of the charge sheet that was filed against the PFI and the anti-terror or the terror plot that the PFI was wanting to unleash. Remember, this was the Maharashtra Anti-Terror Squad's charge sheet that was filed, part 2 of which we are bringing to you today. Now, this reveals that ATS has recovered several videos from the phones of arrested PFI cadre. These videos show that they learned how to make petrol bombs, how to use swords, and teach youth martial arts as well. Remember, earlier, the Maharashtra ATS in its charge sheet against 5 members of the PFI had cited a booklet that was seized from them detailing a 4-state strategy to make India an Islamic nation by 2047. Let's now take you through the part 2 of this particular dossier that we've accessed here on CNN News 18. It goes on to say that there are damning videos that have been found on the phones of the arrested accused. These videos then were found. There are certain accused members that have been named by the ATS. Muhammad Iqbal and Muhammad Ibrahim Khan's phones were the ones that were searched, from which these damning videos have been seized. We're given to understand that videos that were found on PFI Secretary Anis Ahmed's phone is also controversial. That is also something that this charge sheet speaks of. The ATS claims that the accused learned how to make petrol bombs, use swords and sticks using these particular videos. These videos were then circulated among the cadre, inciting them to unite against the Indian government. Another charge that the Maharashtra ATS has made against these arrested PFI members is that youths were trained in baton charge and in karate and martial arts as well, not just as self-defense, but also The plan was to spread tentacles from Maharashtra as base of the PFI. Expansion plan is also something that this radical organization, which is now banned, was looking for. Another charge that is being made against the PFI is that they planned a separate team in Maharashtra to increase hate operations. So they really wanted to spread their tentacles in the state of Maharashtra. Another charge is that there was a bid to incite hatred against temples, against the Hindu community, and of course to create animosity between Hindus and Muslims. That really was the aim. How they were going to do that, how they were going to make this an Islamist nation by 2047 was detailed by the ATS in this particular chart sheet, which we've broken down for you in two parts. Yesha Kotak, my colleague who got us the details of that chart sheet, is now joining me for more on this. Now, it is interesting because it's not just the PFI and some of its affiliates that have been banned, but there are several other offshoots of the PFI which are not banned. They too seem to be working to expand the work of the PFI to spread their tentacles, and that is something that needs to be cracked down upon.
Absolutely. In fact, what you've rightly mentioned was that when SIMI was banned as an organization in the 2000s, following which we saw an offshoot was PFI. PFI was focusing on students, that is students in colleges and universities, in order to ensure that a propaganda is taken forward. Now, even after PFI was banned, we saw that the ATS had in fact nabbed some people from the interiors of Maharashtra who were still holding meetings, and there was some literature found with them. Now, despite the fact that PFI was banned by the central government 4 months back, if we see that there were people who are still working on them, questions surely raised as to if people are still working under the guise of PFI, or if not under the guise of PFI, if there are people who are still working and contributing towards the propaganda or the plan that PFI
Right, sorry to interrupt you there, Yesha. We just have to cut across to the Prime Minister who is in Mumbai. That's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who is in Mumbai, who is inaugurating the education campus of the Dawoodi Bohra community. This is at the Saifi Academy in Mumbai, strengthening the bond that the Prime Minister has with the Dawoodi Bohra community. This also comes just a short while after the Prime Minister flagged off 2 Vande Bharat trains in Mumbai. Yesha continues to be with us, and Yesha, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas has been the mantra of the Modi government ever since it came to power. The Prime Minister there fortifying his bond with this particular community with the inauguration of this education campus.
Absolutely. What we've seen is, in fact, the fact that in the last 20 days, this has been the second visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Mumbai. What we talk about here right now is the inauguration of the Dawoodi Bohra campus, educational campus at Marol, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi is there presently. In fact, just approximately an hour back, he was right here at CST where he inaugurated 2 Vande Bharat trains. But when we talk about Dawoodi Bohra community, we've seen that Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself has a very close bond with the community. This community, which is in fact a business community belonging to the Muslim community. But what we see is, even when he was speaking here after inaugurating Vande Bharat, he said that it is a development of all these people which is important. In fact, he particularly pinpointed that the government here in Maharashtra, which is the BJP and Eknath Shinde government together, is working towards the development of the city, which is where all these projects are equally important. Which is why we saw that that is just 20 days back, last month, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had inaugurated the metro line in Mumbai, following which now he inaugurated Vande Bharat 2 trains, which have moved from Mumbai, from CST towards Solapur and Shirdi. And his last point program today is the inauguration of the Dawoodi Bohra Community Center, following which he'll head back to Delhi. So here, when we speak about the connection between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Dawoodi Bohra community, the Saidna earlier as well was quite close to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, considering the fact that he was Gujarat's Chief Minister. Dawoodi Bohra community actually is a Gujarati-speaking community, having roots in Gujarat, which is where we see the whole connection. And on invitation by the Dawoodi Bohra community, he was especially here to inaugurate their campus. Yes.
And we also had the Prime Minister earlier this morning share his bond with the community. Shots are now coming in, visuals they're coming in on your screens from inside the academy, which has just been inaugurated by the Prime Minister in Mumbai. This is the outreach that has been made to the Dawoodi Bohra community, which is known for its business acumen. The Prime Minister just this morning had taken to Twitter to speak of how this academy will fortify the education that is being imparted, a wholesome training that is being imparted. Yesha continues to be with us. And Yesha, are we expecting the Prime Minister to be addressing that gathering as well? There are several people that have gathered there for the inauguration of this campus.
This is in fact a closed-door gathering, for that matter, if you understand, of Prime Minister Narendra Modi with the Dawoodi Bohra community currently on dais. Prime Minister Narendra Modi would be sharing the dais with the dais, that is Mohammad Mufaddal Saifuddin, who would be there on present. We've seen that Prime Minister Narendra Modi had already addressed a public gathering at CSG when he was flagging off the Vande Bharat. There he'd be having a closed-door meeting and inaugurating the Arabic university that we talk about for the Dawoodi Bohra community, following which he'd head back. So a public gathering as such too for a larger group has already taken place in Mumbai, and it's not likely expected again at Marol. What we saw that apart from this this inauguration, there was ceremonial inauguration for another infrastructure project in Mumbai, which was the SCLR route that Prime Minister Narendra Modi had also inaugurated.
Yes, do stay on with me. Political editor Maria Shakil also with me on this broadcast. And as we're bringing these visuals of the Prime Minister there in Mumbai, Maria, it really goes on to talk of the bond that the Prime Minister shares with the community. He's met with members of the Dawoodi Bohra community, not just here in the country, but even when he's travelled abroad.
Yes, and this is the community that has stood with the Prime Minister when he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat. This is the business community, or the community of, economists and those who drive economy in the state of Gujarat as well. So having said that, if you remember, during the recent national executive of the BJP, one of the messages that was communicated by the Prime Minister to the executive members and other leaders of the BJP was that there has to be an outreach that has to happen from the BJP side to the Bohra community and also to the Pasmanda Muslims. Because Pasmanda Muslims are the welfare class. They are the benefit of the welfareism of the Modi government. And the Bohra Muslims, because they believe in, they are largely the wealth creators. They are those who thrive on opportunity. And this is the community which has, contributed a lot in terms of construction of hospitals. And they believe in being part of the development narrative of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. When you look at these visuals, the message is loud and clear that this is about outreach, this is about continuous communication with this very crucial constituency, which is the Bohra constituency, the Bohra Muslims of India. But this is not for the first time it is happening. The Prime Minister's engagement with the Bohra Muslims have been happening since his days as the Chief Minister of Gujarat, and it has continued for years. Even in Ahmedabad, every now and then, whenever he visits, there is that interaction that continues to happen. There is that continuous engagement that he has with them, because he realizes that this is a community which doesn't really think like the other Muslim constituency in the country at large, the way they approach the BJP.
Yes.
So when we look at these visuals, it is about education. Because the contribution of the Bohra Muslims, particularly in Maharashtra, in Gujarat, and in western parts of India, becomes very, very important, because they have built a lot of educational societies, they run several educational institutions, and hence this visit is about sending a message that it is about taaleem, it's about education. And if the Muslim community, that is the Bohra Muslims, believe in education, the government of India firmly stands with them.
Yes, and it's an embodiment of the Sabka Saath, Sabka Vishwas mantra that the Prime Minister has been giving ever since his government came to power. Maria, thank you so much for putting that in perspective for our viewers. With that, we're slipping into a quick break here on this edition. Back with more on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
इसमें UHF, VHF फ्रीक्वेंसी बैंड ट्रांसपॉन्डर्स लगे हुए हैं जो कि ध्वनि तथा डेटा दोनों के प्रेषण में सक्षम हैं। तृतीय चरण को पृथक कर दिया गया है। यह अंतिम तंत्र वेलोसिटी ट्रिमिंग मॉड्यूल, यह यान को अंतिम अभिवृत्ति तथा गति प्रदान करेगा।
The velocity trimming module has ignited and is currently imparting correct orbital parameters for the spacecraft.
सर्वप्रथम हम देखेंगे EOS 7 का अंतःक्षेपण।
Velocity trimming module thrust cutoff. Plus 12 minutes.
Satellite injection is the next awaited event.
Satellite injection conditions are achieved.
अंतःक्षेपण की स्थितियां प्राप्त की जा चुकी हैं। कुछ ही क्षणों में EOS 7 का अंतःक्षेपण निर्धारित कक्षा में किया जाएगा।
The nominal time of 785 seconds past the launch is scheduled for the prime satellite EOS 07 for injection.
EOS 07 satellite separated.
मुख्य उपग्रह EOS 7 का सफलतापूर्वक अंतःक्षेपण कर दिया गया है।
There we have the confirmation of the prime satellite EOS 07 separating from the launch vehicle.
Janus 1 satellite separated.
Janus 1 के अंतःक्षेपण की पुष्टि की जा चुकी है। उसे सफलतापूर्वक उसके निर्धारित कक्षा में स्थापित किया जा चुका है।
Janus 1 has also been separated, and here we have Azadi Sat 2 separation also.
SSLV D2 EOS 07 mission accomplished. Handing over to mission director.
सभी को बहुत शुभकामनाएं। मिशन इस तरीके से पूरा हुआ।
SSLV D2 EOS 07 mission has been fully accomplished.
With the successful launch of SSLV D2 EOS 07 mission, ISRO now has a new credible member in its launch vehicle family. Congratulations to Team ISRO.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Beautiful launch of SSLV D2 EOS 07 on a bright sunny morning.
Event tracking.
प्रज्वलन और सफलतापूर्ण उत्थापन SSLV D2 प्रोमोचकयान का अपनी उद्दिष्ट कक्षा की ओर SSLV D2 EOS 7 मिशन।
We have confirmation from the Range Operations Director of the normal performance of Stage 1, which means close to 2,600 kilonewtons thrust. 87 tons of solid propellant burns for 115 seconds.
भारत के आज़ादी के अमृत महोत्सव को दर्शाता भारत का एक और महत्वपूर्ण मिशन दिन के उजाले में दूर तक दिखाई दे रहा है। बहुत से दर्शक आंखों देखा अनुभव लेने यहाँ उपस्थित हुए हैं। ये अपने आप में एक अविस्मरणीय अनुभव होता है। सभी की धड़कनें तेज।
Shato is in main auto.
Plus 1 minute.
Apart from the launch-based radars, telemetry and tracking stations at Shar, Bangalore, Trivandrum are currently tracking.
जैसे जैसे यान ऊपर जा रहा है, हम देख रहे हैं इसके सभी तंत्र सामान्य निष्पादन कर रहे हैं और यान निर्धारित दिशा की ओर अपने आप को नियंत्रित करता हुआ आगे जा रहा है।
The flex nozzle of stage is imparting the pitch and yaw control functions. On your TV screens, the simulation of the flight, the separation of SS1 will follow the ignition of second stage.
कुछ ही क्षणों में द्वितीय चरण का प्रज्वलन हो, प्रथम चरण को पृथक कर दिया जाएगा।
Second stage ignited. First stage separated. 2C separated.
द्वितीय चरण का प्रज्वलन शुरू हो चुका है और प्रथम चरण को सफलतापूर्वक पृथक कर दिया गया है।
The second stage of the rocket has commenced its operation and the first stage has been separated.
Performance normal.
Burn time for SS2 is 124 seconds. This rocket stage with carbon fiber motor case contains 7.7 tons of HTPB based solid propellant.
ऊष्मा कवच को पृथक कर दिया गया है। अब हम प्रमोचन से 177 सेकंड की दूरी पर आ चुके हैं। अभी ऊंचाई 182 किलोमीटर है तथा सापेक्ष गति 2.6 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड।
The closed loop guidance has been initiated and the payload fairing has been separated. The course correction of the launch vehicle takes place through a feedback loop.
Performance normal.
SS2 द्वितीय चरण सामान्य निष्पादन करता हुआ। SS2 चरण का प्रज्वलन पूर्ण होने के पश्चात 140 सेकेंड का कोस्ट फेज शुरू होगा। इस कोस्ट फेज में बिना किसी प्रज्वलन के प्राप्त संवेग से यान 423 किलोमीटर की ऊंचाई प्राप्त करेगा।
Shar, Bangalore continue to track. Trivandrum and Port Blair stations have started to acquire the data.
द्वितीय चरण का प्रज्वलन काल समाप्त हो गया है तथा कोस्ट फेज जारी है। EOS 7 उपग्रह मुख्यतः ऐसे नेतभारों का प्रयोग कर रहा है जो कि माइक्रो सैटेलाइट बस से सुसंगत और भावी उपग्रहों के लिए उपयोगी नवीन तकनीकों का प्रदर्शन करेंगे। इसमें मिलीमीटर वेव ह्यूमिडिटी साउंडर तथा स्पेक्ट्रम मॉनिटरिंग जैसे पेलोड लगे हुए हैं। EOS 7 का कुल भार 156 kg है तथा इसका कार्यकाल 1 साल का निर्धारित किया गया है। कुछ ही क्षणों में द्वितीय चरण को यान से पृथक कर दिया जाएगा तथा तृतीय चरण का प्रज्वलन शुरू होगा।
Stage separated.
The third stage SS3
Stage ignited.
has commenced its operation.
जी हाँ, तृतीय चरण का प्रज्वलन शुरू हो चुका है। यह भी करीब 104 सेकंड तक चलकर शांत हो जाएगा। उसके बाद कोस्ट फेज की शुरुआत होगी। तृतीय चरण का प्रज्वलन सामान्य।
HTPB based solid propellant with a loading of 4.5 tons produces a vacuum thrust of 160 kilonewtons. The stage burns for 104 seconds.
Welcome back. A major setback was handed out to Pakistan and its economy as the Sharif government and the IMF's 9th review meeting failed to reach a staff-level agreement during their talks. The standoff and the deadlock comes after Pakistani officials declined the condition of cut in defence budget by 10 to 20%. The IMF said this was committed earlier, but now the Pakistan officials, the Pakistani administration, wanted it removed. They said that this gradual approach of Pakistan is not acceptable to the IMF and everything needs to be done up front. Both parties have agreed to a broader framework, though, aimed at satisfying the lender of the last resort in the coming days because Pakistan's economy is in the doldrums. A bailout from the IMF is what it really needs. How the government is going to manage to salvage that, to secure that particular deal, that remains to be seen. The government there is completely hopeful. But here's what happened after why the IMF team left Pakistan without signing on the dotted line. They said that Pakistan asked them for more time to review the defence budget. The finance minister said that until the army chief returns from the UK, they should perhaps wait. There will be discussions between the army and the Pakistani administration and then a decision will be reached. But that is something that was not acceptable to the IMF, which categorically told the Pakistani finance minister that we cannot trust your commitments. This gradual approach is something that the IMF has completely rejected. They said, we want you to work on this up front, otherwise there's going to be no bailout. Pakistan is believed to have asked IMF mission chief to remove the cut in the defence budget clause as of now. But that is something where the IMF lost its patience. That's where they decided to stop the dialogue and leave Pakistan without signing that staff level agreement. So can this wait and watch approach really work? Because it's the Pakistani people and the country that is suffering at the end of the day, even as the military wants to call the shots and not cut its defense budget, something that the IMF is extremely adamant on. International affairs expert Rabindranath Sachdev joins me on this broadcast. Senior journalist from Pakistan, Shahzad Anwar Farooqi, also with me. And Mr. Farooqi, I'd like to get you in first. There are several things that the Pakistani administration seems to have promised the IMF, but nothing seems to have cut the ice. They've gone back without signing on that dotted line. How is the Pakistani economy going to survive? How is the country going to survive?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Anginat Durood Salam Nabi Akhir Zaman Muhammad Mustafa Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam और उनके आल पर. Thank you very much for having me here. Well, you can say that there is a deficit of trust between Pakistan and IMF, but I don't think the matter in question is the defense budget only. It may be defense budget must have been on the agenda, but not on the front lines. I think there are some other steps which can be taken by Pakistan, but they are basically delaying all these steps, and they are trying to get some time. The most crucial is the steps that were promised by the Pakistan, but they don't take steps in the line of action because.
And can the country afford that? The Pakistani administration, Mr. Farooqi, seems to be wanting to buy time, like you said. But that clearly is not helping because the crisis is mounting. It's the people of Pakistan that are suffering. There are hour-long blackouts. There are inflation is at an all-time high. Can the people of the country afford for the government or for the army to have this wait-and-watch approach?
Pakistan don't afford that. I clearly said that. Pakistan is in no condition to survive longer than that, because Pakistan is currently facing a crunch in economic situation, and Pakistan basically trying to get some time to get some money out of the box, but there is no out of the box solution for this situation. Pakistan is trying to get help from Saudi Arab and UAE and from China, but these all three friend countries, they basically are waiting for the IMF to go to give them a go ahead, and they are basically
yes, because the trust deficit is not just with the IMF. All the allies or the so-called allies of Pakistan also seem to have that trust deficit, Ravinder Sachdev, which is also why we had the Pakistani Prime Minister just a few days ago admit that it's embarrassing for me to go with a begging bowl in front of these countries. And yet we have them dilly-dallying. The one condition that has been set by the IMF is something that Pakistan does not want to work on.
Yeah, and that's, of course, other conditions are pretty severe, but on the defense, let's unpack it. One, the IMF is saying that reduce the military pensions. Second, it's saying, the military pensions in Pakistan are in the civil budget, not in defense, saying bring it into the defense budget and reduce total defense budget after that. Thirdly, the Fauji Foundation, which runs many businesses in Pakistan by the military, is a tax-exempt organization and annual sales of around $26 billion. IMF is asking that Fauji Foundation be brought under the tax umbrella. Regarding defense, I'll give you a parallel with Sri Lanka. What Sri Lanka has agreed with IMF, troop levels come down from 185,000 to 135,000 by next year, and 100,000 in 5 years or by 2030. So in defense, these are three very clear-cut, directions which IMF would take. And secondly, other, conditions. Pakistan has pledged, the Karachi airport has been pledged to various lenders 5 times during the period 2013 to 2017. Almost all toll roads of Pakistan have been pledged to lenders. Now, IMF agreement, even if Pakistan agrees to the defense, cuts, taxing of the Fauji Foundation, military pensions cut, and other things, increasing taxes and all is separate, right? Even if Pakistan agrees to that, that will only be a mere paper. With that paper that a deal has been agreed with IMF, Pakistan will have to go to the joint lenders you're saying, for example, like UAE, China, yes, Saudi in Pakistan case. Again, a parallel to Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka struck a deal with IMF, but Sri Lanka has not received a single penny so far. Why? Because the bilateral lenders in that case China, Japan, and India cannot agree mutually. India and Japan have agreed to mutually delay or a moratorium on the loan for 10 years. China says no, only 2 years moratorium. So when UAE, Saudi, and China will sit down to come to common terms, will they come to common terms? Only after that will the IMF money, the first tranche or second or 1.1 will be released. Then there is
so
the
it is
question
going to
of
be an uphill battle for the
private
establishment there. Yes, it's going to be an uphill battle, and it's not just the bailout that is going to help Pakistan out, unfortunately, but something needs to be done by the administration, specifically by the army there as well. Unfortunately, I'm running out of time, but I thank you both gentlemen for joining us here on this broadcast with your perspective. We are shifting focus now to Turkey and Syria, where panic continues to grip those two countries. Remember, an earthquake there has claimed over 21,000 lives. The search operations continue. The death toll is expected to rise, unfortunately. The Turkish president has declared a state of emergency in at least 10 provinces for the next 3 months. He also visited quake-hit provinces. He promised new houses for those who were left homeless. Till now, India has sent more than 250 personnel, specialized equipment and other relief material amounting to more than 135 tons to Turkey. This is under Operation Dost. A control room in southern Turkey has also been set up, and India is at the forefront of the operations there.
Can you just share it in a little more detail as to how that little girl was rescued? How was that operation really concluded?
So it was a sub-team led by a sub-inspector, 7 to 8 NDF rescuers. And they were at a building which had collapsed, a pancake collapse as we call it. And this little girl was there. And when they were taking the dead victims out, this little girl opened her eyes and they realized this little one is alive. That is how she was found alive after, I would say, almost 80 hours. In the rescue of the little girl, 6-year-old, the 2 dogs, Romy and Julie, played a huge role. They were the ones who led the rescuers towards the place where she was there, and when they could finally recover. So Julie is a hero for us, and they add to the technical equipment's alarms. Sometimes the equipment is certainly not 100%, give you false positive. A lot of noise and a lot of rubble is being removed. So the dog has different kind of a way of sensing a live victim, and when these two corroborate, then we are very sure that there is something here which needs to be explored. So the dog is a big help.
Now, there are some defining moments, unfortunately, of the aftermath of the tragedy that struck both Turkey and Syria, and we just want to take you through some of those pictures that may be heartbreaking, that are that want us to somehow at sometimes give up hope. But that's really the message that's coming in from the world, that we all stand united with the two countries and their people at this time of grief. Unfortunately, the death toll has crossed over 21,000. Destruction is all around the place, but rescue operations are taking place on a war footing, and the world has come together to help rescue those people from under the rubble. While search for survivors continues amid this cold weather, there was a dog that was found buried under the rubble from a collapsed building. This was in one of the Turkish cities. There were rescue operators who also were ensuring that it's not just human lives that were saved, but others as well. Now, according to a Twitter user, there is a visual of a father trying to rescue his trapped family. He's removing debris with his bare hands. He calls out for his family. Unfortunately, there is no response. You can hear that desperation in his voice as he tries to do it with his bare hands. Till now, India has been at the forefront, and under Operation Dost, India has been sending relief to Turkey. We've sent more than 250 personnel, specialized equipment and other relief material amounting to more than 135 tons. This is happening under Operation Dost, like I said. A control room has also been set up by India in southern Turkey. We'll keep a track of that and much more here on CNN News 18. But for now, a quick break.
भार 8 kg है। इसे 75 फेम्टो एक्सपेरिमेंट्स के लिए विभिन्न नितभार हैं। इन नितभारों को स्पेस किड्स इंडिया द्वारा एकीकृत किया गया है। इसमें UHF, VHF फ्रीक्वेंसी बैंड ट्रांसपॉन्डर्स लगे हुए हैं, जो कि ध्वनि तथा डेटा दोनों के प्रेषण में सक्षम हैं। तृतीय चरण को पृथक कर दिया गया है।
Velocity trimming module ignited.
यह अंतिम तंत्र वेलोसिटी ट्रिमिंग मॉड्यूल यह यान को अंतिम अभिवृत्ति तथा गति प्रदान करेगा.
The velocity trimming module has ignited and is currently imparting correct orbital parameters for the spacecraft.
सर्वप्रथम हम देखेंगे EOS 7 का अंतःक्षेपण.
Velocity trimming module thrust cutoff.
Plus 12 minutes.
Satellite injection is the next awaited event.
Satellite injection conditions are achieved.
अंतःक्षेपण की स्थितियां प्राप्त की जा चुकी हैं. कुछ ही क्षणों में EOS 7 का अंतःक्षेपण निर्धारित कक्षा में किया जाएगा.
The nominal time of 785 seconds past the launch is scheduled for the prime satellite EOS 07 for injection.
EOS 07 satellite separated.
मुख्य उपग्रह EOS 7 का सफलतापूर्वक अंतःक्षेपण कर दिया गया है.
There we have the confirmation of the prime satellite EOS 07 separating from the launch vehicle.
Janus 1 satellite separated.
Janus 1 के अंतःक्षेपण की पुष्टि की जा चुकी है. उसे सफलतापूर्वक उसके निर्धारित कक्षा में स्थापित किया जा चुका है.
Janus 1 has also been separated. And here we have Azadi Sat 2 separation also.
SSLV D2 EOS 07 mission accomplished. Handing over to mission director.
सभी को बहुत शुभकामनाएं. मिशन इस तरीके से पूरा हुआ.
SSLV D2 EOS 07 mission has been fully accomplished.
With the successful launch of SSLV D2 EOS 07 mission, ISRO now has a new credible member in its launch vehicle family. Congratulations to Team ISRO.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Beautiful launch of SSLV D2 EOS 07 on a bright sunny morning.
Event tracking.
प्रज्वलन और सफलतापूर्ण उत्थापन SSLV D2 प्रमोचक यान का अपनी उद्दिष्ट कक्षा की ओर SSLV D2 EOS 7 मिशन.
We have confirmation from the Range Operations Director of the normal performance of Stage 1, which means close to 2,600 kilonewtons thrust. 87 tons of solid propellant burns for 115 seconds.
भारत के आज़ादी के अमृत महोत्सव को दर्शाता भारत का एक और महत्वपूर्ण मिशन दिन के उजाले में दूर तक दिखाई दे रहा है. बहुत से दर्शक आंखों देखा अनुभव लेने यहाँ उपस्थित हुए हैं. ये अपने आप में एक अविस्मरणीय अनुभव होता है. सभी की धड़कनें तेज.
Shato is in main auto.
Plus 1 minute.
Apart from the launch-based radars, telemetry and tracking stations at Shar, Bangalore, Trivandrum are currently tracking.
जैसे जैसे यान ऊपर जा रहा है हम देख रहे हैं इसके सभी तंत्र सामान्य निष्पादन कर रहे हैं और यान निर्धारित दिशा की ओर अपने आप को नियंत्रित करता हुआ आगे जा रहा है.
The flex nozzle of stage is imparting the pitch and yaw control functions. On your TV screens, the simulation of the flight, the separation of SS1 will follow the ignition of second stage.
कुछ ही क्षणों में द्वितीय चरण का प्रज्वलन हो प्रथम चरण को पृथक कर दिया जाएगा.
Second stage ignited. First stage separated. 2C separated.
द्वितीय चरण का प्रज्वलन शुरू हो चुका है और प्रथम चरण को सफलतापूर्वक पृथक कर दिया गया है.
The second stage of the rocket has commenced its operation and the first stage has been separated.
Performance normal.
Burn time for SS2 is 124 seconds. This rocket stage with carbon fiber motor case contains 7.7 tons of HTPB based solid propellant.
ऊष्मा कवच को पृथक कर दिया गया है। अब हम प्रमोचन से 177 सेकंड की दूरी पर आ चुके हैं। अभी ऊंचाई 182 किलोमीटर है तथा सापेक्ष गति 2.6 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड।
The closed loop guidance has been initiated and the payload fairing has been separated. The course correction of the launch vehicle takes place through a feedback loop.
Performance normal.
SS2 द्वितीय चरण सामान्य निष्पादन करता हुआ SS2 चरण का प्रज्वलन पूर्ण होने के पश्चात 140 सेकेंड का कोस्ट फेज शुरू होगा। इस कोस्ट फेज में बिना किसी प्रज्वलन के प्राप्त संवेग से यान 423 किलोमीटर की ऊंचाई प्राप्त करेगा।
Shar, Bangalore continue to track. Trivandrum and Port Blair stations have started to acquire the data.
द्वितीय चरण का प्रज्वलन काल समाप्त हो गया है तथा कोस्ट फेज जारी है। EOS 7 उपग्रह मुख्यतः ऐसे नेतभारों का प्रयोग कर रहा है जो कि माइक्रो सैटेलाइट बस से सुसंगत और भावी उपग्रहों के लिए उपयोगी नवीन तकनीकों का प्रदर्शन करेंगे। इसमें मिलीमीटर वेव ह्यूमिडिटी साउंडर तथा स्पेक्ट्रम मॉनिटरिंग जैसे पेलोड लगे हुए हैं। EOS 7 का कुल भार 156 kg है तथा इसका कार्यकाल 1 साल का निर्धारित किया गया है। कुछ ही क्षणों में द्वितीय चरण को यान से पृथक कर दिया जाएगा तथा तृतीय चरण का प्रज्वलन शुरू होगा।
Stage separated.
The third stage SS3
दिया है। मैं बहुत समय से लगभग 32-33 साल से सहकारिता के साथ जुड़ा हुआ हूं। मित्रों, हमने पैक्स का कंप्यूटराइजेशन का फैसला किया, मल्टीपर्पज पैक्स बनाने के लिए इसके मॉडल बाइलॉज बना दिए। अब कॉमन सर्विस सेंटर CSC को पैक्स के लिए परमिट कर दिया। गैप ढूंढने के लिए नेशनल कोऑपरेटिव डेटाबेस बनाया। राष्ट्रीय सहकार नीति बन रही है। इसके साथ साथ क्रेडिट गारंटी फंड ट्रस्ट में सदस्यता ऋणदाता संस्थान भी बना दिया। जैन पोर्टल पर खरीदी की कोऑपरेटिव्स को छूट दे दी। नेट के अंदर 18% से घटाकर 15% किया। आयकर अधिनियम में भी ढेर सारी राहतें दी। कोऑपरेटिव चीनी मिल को इनकम टैक्स के अंदर रियायतें दी और 3 नई मल्टी स्टेट कोऑपरेटिव्स बनाई हैं। एक छोटे किसान को बीज के उत्पादन में जोड़ेगी, दूसरा ऑर्गेनिक प्रोडक्ट का मार्केटिंग और ऑर्गेनिक प्रोडक्ट बनाने वाले किसान को अपने खेत में मार्केट करने के लिए कुछ नहीं करना पड़े, इस प्रकार की पूरी व्यवस्था बनाएगी। और तीसरा एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्ट के निर्यात के लिए भी काम करेंगे। ढेर सारे चीजें हमने इसके साथ जोड़ी है। इसमें भी विपुल संभावना है। आने वाले 2 महीने के अंदर ही मेरा सिर्फ कोऑपरेटिव के एक्सटेंशन का देश भर का दौरा है। मैं उत्तर प्रदेश भी आऊंगा क्योंकि उत्तर प्रदेश सबसे कम कोऑपरेटिव रखने वाला प्रदेश है और सबसे ज्यादा संभावना रखने वाला प्रदेश है। तो विपुल मात्रा में कोऑपरेटिव की संभावना यहां पड़ी है। मित्रों, यहां पर जो मैंने इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की बातें करी, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के लिए ढेर सारा काम उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार ने किया है और मैं मानता हूं कि राज्य में इतने सारे एक्सप्रेसवे किसी भी राज्य में नहीं बने होंगे। पूर्वांचल एक्सप्रेसवे हो, बुंदेलखंड एक्सप्रेसवे हो, बलिया एक्सप्रेसवे, गोरखपुर लिंक एक्सप्रेसवे, आगामी गंगा एक्सप्रेसवे, ढेर सारे एक्सप्रेसवे बनाकर उत्तर प्रदेश के हर क्षेत्र को, इतने बड़े राज्यों को एक दूसरे के साथ जोड़ने का काम किया है। सबसे ज्यादा इंटरनेशनल एयरपोर्ट अगर आज कहीं पर है तो उत्तर प्रदेश के अंदर है, और वन डिस्ट्रिक्ट वन प्रोडक्ट के लिए बहुत अच्छी मार्केटिंग की व्यवस्था भी हुई है। नोएडा अंतर्राष्ट्रीय हवाई अड्डा बनने के बाद सबसे ज्यादा आवाजाही की कैपेसिटी एयरपोर्ट की किसी एक राज्य की होगी तो वो भी उत्तर प्रदेश की हो जाएगी। ढेर सारा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का काम किया है। बुंदेलखंड के अंदर पानी की किल्लत थी, केन बेतवा आगे बढ़ गई, बुंदेलखंड में भी अब कभी अकाल सहन न करना पड़े, इस प्रकार की हमने नीति करी है। और पीएम गति शक्ति नेशनल मास्टर प्लान के तहत जलमार्ग से लेकर सारे प्रकार की गति को कोऑर्डिनेट करने का काम भी उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार बहुत अच्छा कर रही है। सबसे पहला जलमार्ग उत्तर प्रदेश से ही शुरू हुआ है, और यहां से वाराणसी और इलाहाबाद से लेकर हावड़ा तक पूरा जलमार्ग बनने से आपकी ट्रांसपोर्टेशन की कॉस्ट 1/3 से भी कम होने वाली है। बहुत बड़ा पोटेंशियल खड़ा करता है उद्योगों के लिए। उत्तर प्रदेश के अंदर जिस प्रकार का संकट था, इंडस्ट्रियल इन्वेस्टमेंट के आने के लिए पहले मैंने कहा 5 संकटों को योगी जी की सरकार ने समाप्त कर दिया है। और एक जमाना था जब इन्वेस्टमेंट समिट दिल्ली जाकर करनी पड़ती थी, आज पूरे देश के सभी राज्यों के इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट
Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. A review report from the UK is making headlines in India because while it talks of the threat that UK and its people face, especially from radicalization,